All right. Well, hey, here we are again. Jake, welcome back to the SynergyXR studio. Great to have you with us. You've become a recurring guest.
Yeah. Thank you very much for having me again. I guess I behaved well last time.
You did,
Yeah.
and you have dressed so nice today. I am completely underdressed, but that's how it goes sometimes. Sales versus marketing.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Customer facing. I actually have some customer meetings after this. So
wonderful. Good for you. Well, I hope they go well.
Yeah.
We are here today to talk about virtual showrooms, also known as digital showrooms, and help people understand how you can use them to actually do more with less. Let's start with quick intros. Hey guys, my name is Corey Morris. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer here at SynergyXR. I've been working professionally, which is almost 25 years now. Worked with a bunch of different things. All of them have included some type of trade show, some type of exhibition fair. So I've been working kind of on both sides, both as a spectator and as an exhibitor for many years. So super excited to dive into this. What about you?
So you've had your hands dirty on the exhibition.
I've had lots of ups and downs. Yes. Most of them ups though.
Yeah. Lovely. So,
what about you?
Yeah, I'm Jacob Soderberg. I am Chief Sales Officer here at SynergyXR.
Mm-hmm.
I've been working, actually, I think my first real job after my education was in '93, so I'm pushing 30 years now.
Okay, good for you.
Jesus. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. That's impressive.
Yeah, thank you very much. So, and also like I've been in B2B sales internationally, have also had my hands dirty in the trade show, both in Europe and in San Francisco. Actually did one in Las Vegas as well. I wasn't the
big time
logistics planner,
that's the big league.
Yes, it is. It's massive.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, we'll dig into that a little bit as well. So what's on the agenda today are kind of four overall talking points. So we want to look at where we are today when, what's the state of the union when it comes to trade shows. What are good about trade shows today, but also, what could be improved in trade shows today. But also kind of look at a future state, like where do we want to be tomorrow? Like where are we in a year from now, also given the overall situation of the world where everybody's trying to save money, right, and travel less. Then we want to talk about the path to getting from where we are today to maybe where we are in the very near future, and then kind of make sure that people have some, key takeaways, but also some action points, because I want our talk today to be kind of actionable. So people not only get information, they also get inspiration and concrete ideas so they can act on. Yep. How's that sound?
I think that sounds like a great agenda.
Cool. Let's dive in though. So let's look at the trade show approach today.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's start by looking at this photo. I think everyone can relate to it.
Yep.
It's the 10 by 10 jungle for the most part.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
3 by 3 meters. Yeah.
It's the 3 by 3 meters. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
So we
have to remember when we were talking to an international crowd here, 3 by 3 meters, roughly 10 by 10 feet. Yeah. We've all been there.
Yeah. I've and even with the pandemic just being over, I actually found myself missing some of that when everything closed down in 2020 and 2021. And I've talked to a lot of people who actually missed meeting people in public.
Yeah, of course.
But this part, the chaos, the sound, the videos, it's
there's a lot going on there. There's a lot of moving parts, but I couldn't agree more that I think what a lot of people have missed is just the actual human connection. So, I mean, there will always be physical trade shows, and I think there always should be physical trade shows.
Absolutely.
And then, obviously, if you look at kind of like heavy machinery, because this is an area that we specialize in, is like helping companies with really big, complex things, communicate them in more powerful ways. So if we look at this as an example, you have companies like here it's Caterpillar, sometimes they go well beyond the 10 by 10 foot.
I can't even fathom the amount of finances that you should spend to bring all that equipment in.
I mean this could be at one major event. This could also be something that they've hosted entirely themselves. But there's a lot of I said there was a lot of moving parts before. Here is a lot of moving parts. Literally, a lot of heavy parts as well. So sometimes bigger is better, depending on your brand, depending on your goal. Sometimes less is more, because here we have the same company, Caterpillar, who it seems to be, focusing on a specific area within their overall product portfolio. So they've gone, a little bit smaller, but maybe can focus a little bit more on specific things. And then there's also Mini Works too. They're almost down to a 10 by 10 stand. Not quite. I don't think Caterpillar would be at a 10 by 10 stand. But what I thought was quite interesting here is that we've seen the product shrink and over these three images, right? Here they have like toy models of their parts. And we're going to get into in a minute how they could probably do so much more than actually both have the actual machinery there, but also just using their toy models. I think these three images really show how companies maybe approach events. Sometimes you can go big, sometimes you can also go little. Depends on the event and also the cost.
For sure.
Anything you want to add here?
Yeah. So we have a long legacy of building solutions for companies in that area.
We do,
So we do know them very well, and most of them have like perhaps 4 to 5 exhibitions per year.
Yeah, big, fairly big ones, right?
Yeah, one or two is really big.
Yeah,
2 or 3 are smaller and perhaps more remote markets, and so they're working with different.
I mean, companies like Caterpillar, they have probably massive event teams, like dedicated event teams who have different setups depending on what they're trying to achieve with the event and where they are. Sometimes there's lots of logistics involved as well, like going back to the original image, like getting all of that machinery from point A to point B is time consuming, very costly. But let's dig into what's wrong with the current approach of trade shows. What do you think is wrong with them? Obviously, we have 3 really good talking points here.
I mean, first and foremost, it's super expensive. And on that side, I mean, I hear a lot of companies go, so why are you joining this show? We got to be there because our competitors are there, and if we're not, then we're gonna lose. And that's perhaps some reason for joining, but I'm not sure it's the best. I mean, you should be able to kind of measure ROI on that. So it is super expensive. I mean, it's some of the most expensive square meters you can buy, even compared to larger cities, right?
Very much so.
And then you have to build something on top of those square meters. That's also super expensive. And it's usually something that needs to be replaced after one exhibition because so sustainability.
So the durability of the stands.
And there's the whole thing we talked about, the logistics, the planning. You need a complete organization to take care of that. And
because I mean, I think our research shows that on average, companies use up to 12 months to plan just for one event. And then obviously the logistics cost of getting your products from point A to point B. In some areas, or for some companies, it can be as much to 10 to 30% of the actual trade show budget. And on average, companies spend roughly 30% of their overall marketing budget on trade shows. So it is from a marketing perspective, for a lot of companies, a mission critical activity. And I do think it's because just building your brand awareness, but also just showing the overall strength of the brand.
And again, I think it's important to just stress that a virtual version of this will never replace the physical. There's also the whole meeting colleagues, meeting customers, and I see a lot of times you actually agree to meet on the trade show to sign deal, and so forth. So
a lot takes place there, right? Because you actually have what happens at the trade show, but then what happens after the trade show. It's wining and dining. It's network. It's nurturing relationships. Not only bringing in new prospects, but also obviously cultivating relationships with people that you already have. But also your competitors as well, like finding out what's new right now. What is company B doing? What's our competitor doing?
Let's have a look at them.
So it is. I mean, it's an opportunity to showcase, right?
There's definitely rooms for improving, either lowering your costs or improving efficiency and so forth with the current approach.
Yeah, but at a really high level, though, it's really expensive. There's a lot of planning involved, and it's a logistics puzzle. Great. So let's look at actually some of those numbers when we talk about really expensive. How much does it actually cost? Floor fee costs.
And
$5,000. $5,000, and that's like the bare minimum. That's just for your 10 by 10 booth, the one we showed in the original image. That's on average, and most companies are actually going to want to exceed that depending on your budget, right?
For sure.
And that's just the floor. That's just the floor fee
size that you're offering.
Right.
I mean, Caterpillar wouldn't fit many models.
No,
even
you
the
could
small
add
ones into
quite a
10 by
few
10.
zeros behind that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't remember exactly what the number was, but I think one of the largest exhibition spaces ever rented. I think it was Samsung at the Consumer Electronics Show.
Oh,
It was almost, I think, in the millions.
Yeah, I think that's an entire exhibition hall.
Yeah,
for themselves.
probably, yeah. So not only do you have to actually pay for the floor fee, you also have to pay to actually have a stand built. And most companies, again, if they want to show that the brand is growing, they're probably not going to reuse everything that they did from the year before. So the average cost is $15,000 US. And again, that's just for a 10 by 10. It's a very small starting point. And when we talk to customers as well, they're like, yeah, that's actually pretty low. Ours are actually much higher. But if you look at all the costs calculated together, we can see that we're much more than just 20,000. We're actually around 75,000 US for a single trade show. Now, obviously, a lot of the stuff can be reused, but if you include things like the space, the building of the booth, the services while you're there, the travel, the shipping, the staff, plus a whole other list of things, it gets kind of costly.
Yeah, and I remember, so do you want Wi-Fi on your booth? Yes, please. Yeah, that's $200 per day for a 5G line. And do you want a chair too? That's $150. I can buy one for less. I mean, it's crazy expensive. So the 75K, that's I think also that's a bare minimum.
Yeah,
that's the starting
Absolutely.
point, right?
Absolutely. So I think we've established the point that it's really expensive to participate in maybe not all trade shows, but the majority of them, the big ones, the ones where you want to be and probably need to be, they are quite costly.
And you want to use a trade show also to flex a little muscle, and kind of show
little peacocking.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look at us.
Yep. But at the end of the day, most booths are just incredibly bad. I think that's the key takeaway. Looking at
I've seen this guy.
Yeah. We've seen this guy.
I've seen this guy. Numerous trade shows.
Yeah, I mean, with all due respect to our colleagues out in the trade show world, most booths are uninspiring. They're not really unique. They don't stand out. No. They use the exact same assets that everybody else does, and they're not engaging, which leaves your sales team a lot of downtime for your sales team. Well, at least they can check their phone and look very uninterested in anybody who's walking by. I mean, no offense to, what is this, smartwatch, train wash? I'm pretty sure they make an amazing product, but John here should probably be talking to some customers. Anyway.
Yeah.
So look. Yeah, let's move beyond. I love that photo as well.
I have a lot of sympathy.
Well, we've all been there, right?
Yes.
We've all been there. Great. So let's look at when trade shows actually innovate with virtual reality.
Yes.
And it doesn't necessarily have to just be virtual reality. There are also other elements of the XR spectrum that they can use to innovate with. But we're going to focus more on the virtual part today. But before we do that, let's actually take a quick look at when we say how to innovate with VR, what companies or how are companies actually using VR today? I think that's important for maybe those listening today who are kind of new to this area and just kind of want to get an overarching view of, how is it being used today?
Am I going to be a first mover with
this? Because I think there is a lot of, maybe there's some fear out there that that this hasn't really tried yet, that companies haven't really used this. So we haven't really kicked the wheels on it yet, but actually we have, right?
Yeah.
A recent survey showed that actually 91% of companies have some type of AR or VR technology in use today or are considering it.
Yeah.
Which is quite interesting.
Yeah.
And I think the pandemic, we are still talking about the pandemic.
Yes.
Yeah, has accelerated that timeline
for sure.
quite drastically.
Yeah. That new employee COVID in many companies, he sparked some innovation there.
Absolutely, which is great. So anybody out there who's thinking, hey, nobody else has done this. If I do this, am I going to be a first mover? Absolutely not. Let's dig a little bit deeper and look at actually how companies are using this. Not a big surprise here that it's spread across 4 different areas because we obviously see, XR being the metaverse. We'll use that term in there. If you guys want to know more about the metaverse, then we'll link to some of the other webinars that we've done where we do more deep dives into those. But it's being used across, the metaverse is the next iteration of the internet.
Yep.
And obviously it's going to affect all aspects of an organization, the entire value chain. And so it's no surprise to me when I see that, 60% of it is being used in production assistance. So how do you help people, frontline employees? Yes. Then you have, we'll stick with the blue here, 53% are using it for virtual product design and engineering. Yep. So in the early phases of building a product, and then then employee training. So training employees in new product services, onboarding, and things like that. The one that I've highlighted in black here, though, I think is really interesting to our topic today because it's virtual customer visits. So you're actually using it in some type of customer engagement activity, which is very akin to, I think, using it in a trade show setting.
Yeah. It's completely this invitation in a virtual setting of either a replica of your headquarters or your physical showroom.
Yeah, right? And I think that was accelerated in part because people weren't able to have sales meetings during the pandemic. However, what we don't see enough of yet, which is what I mean is it's a great opportunity to innovate, is that it's probably not being used significantly in connection with trade shows. So this is kind of if you want to use this term, a blue. Yeah, absolutely, and it's also kind of a blue ocean as well. That's a great way to differentiate your offering. Let's actually, all right, so now we've kind of, laid the foundation for, why are we even talking about this and why is it relevant? What is a virtual showroom? How would you describe a virtual showroom?
So I think actually there's two different versions of a virtual showroom. Yeah. There's the virtual version of your physical showroom. Right. And then there's the complete virtual showroom that I think we have some examples. But we
do, yeah. We'll show them in a second.
So I want to talk about the real virtual, the immersive showroom where you actually can show your products in the setting they're built to. Right. If it's Caterpillar, it's off highway, so you shouldn't be in some polished headquarters.
Kind of like in this image right here.
Yes. You should build your own little quarry or mine or construction site and show your products in that. And invite your customers to see your products in their true habitat. Yeah,
I think the key word there's like a fully immersive 3D experience where you can have like dynamic video, dynamic audio, and then you can also let your customers engage with products, which you'll never be able to do at an actual physical trade show. You're not going to let people get into that dump truck and drive it around or operate that machine, but you can also do it without the need to travel anywhere. So I'm going to throw this out there. This doesn't necessarily only have to be used in connection with the trade show. In fact, it can be used anywhere.
For sure not.
Yeah.
Yes.
It can be your sales room. It can, but actually, to your point before, there are, I think people have different ideas of what a virtual or a digital showroom is. Yeah. This is, here's a few examples. So this is what a lot of people are exposed to today. You can go on a website and then people say, hey, take a virtual tour of our virtual showroom. Yeah. And no discredit to this, but these are actually just images. These are just photos of a real showroom. Yep. And then you can teleport from circle to circle, which kind of lets you stand there, and then you can look at different products and services. Yep. And that's great. But to me, it's only like the top or the tip of the iceberg in terms of what you can actually do with virtual showrooms.
Alternative representation of your existing.
And here's another example, which is literally, okay, I'm going to go and actually visit the Norman Copenhagen showroom and go through this. Yeah. It's a good bridge, but to me, it doesn't really do the whole idea of virtual reality showrooms justice. What we're talking about is something a little bit different. Mm-hmm. So let's take a quick look at this video, which shows, talks a little bit more about VR showrooms.
When you give your brand a voice, the world listens. Now you can speak directly to your audience with virtual marketing experiences and scale them globally through the corporate metaverse. With the SynergyXR platform, you're empowered to design trade fair exhibitions without any physical limitations. Capture the distinct look and feel of your products in their real context and make it easy for customers to identify with your products from anywhere, anytime.
Yes. So this is an example of from our heavy machinery virtual reality demo. So that was one. Let's look at another one real quick. It's kind of a different take on it, and then we can kind of talk about them. So this is the one from. It's obviously a different product category. It's more within furniture and decor.
The future of sales is here. It's called the corporate metaverse, and it empowers you to deliver unforgettable customer experiences. With SynergyXR, you can create a virtual showroom that lets customers interact with your products as if they were in a physical store. Give customers an enhanced experience with try before you buy features and browser-based shopping from anywhere, anytime.
Those are great. I really love those. Also because they're kind of like each at their own end of the spectrum in terms of the different types of products that you can show in a virtual showroom. So for any of you guys who are wondering, wow, that looks great. How did you build that? That's actually built on the SynergyXR platform. Obviously, they're demo experiences, but they're the exact same assets that most companies have. And obviously, we have a team that can go in and help just if you need a special type of context or an environment, then we can obviously go in and build that. So look, do you want to talk a little bit more about those, the ones that we've just shown?
No, well, just the one that we saw with the furniture is actually built on one of our standard rooms.
That's it. That's out of the box.
Decorated with equipment ready to use. The other one, we kind of built that environment, and we can perhaps at a later time talk a little bit about the cost. I can share already now it's a fraction of the cost of being at a trade show. But so yeah, they are. It's a great add-on to a trade show, and one thing that I think is really important.
It's a good point. There's an add-on, right?
Yes. Going back to our friend John with the smart train wash, what we've done some trade shows ourselves, and we bring in VR headsets. And one task on all trade shows is to attract foot traffic. And a VR headset is actually super efficient at attracting foot traffic.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. And then if you can engage people with something interested inside that VR headset, then you're on something really, really exciting. And then you can showcase, you have unlimited space. Let's talk a little bit about that. I mean, we already talked about the cost of square meters at a trade show. Imagine expanding your floor with infinite square meters.
Absolutely.
So there is really like no physical limitation. Also, the heavy equipment, the Caterpillar picture we saw earlier. Imagine bringing 10s or 20s of different off-highway vehicles.
Or you could effectively bring your entire product portfolio if you wanted to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Without the hassle of logistics and transportation costs and emitting CO2 and all the other stuff and connected to that.
What I like about it is obviously because it's a novelty of seeing people, for example, if they're wearing the VR headsets, that's going to attract people because that looks fun, that looks exciting, but also because you can actually show what the person is seeing on big screens. Yeah. So it makes it more of a shared experience. And that's also kind of a, what do you want to call it? Something that can be used to attract people because they can see what the other person is seeing, and that makes them want to, hey, I want to come and try that as well. And obviously it's something that's not being used right now. So it is a way to stand out and differentiate yourself from the brand, which is really what it's all about, if you ask me, when you're at a trade show. Yeah,
absolutely. And again, going back to our friend at John at the smartwatch, I mean, he was one person at the booth.
Yeah.
By bringing in VR and having an online experience, you can actually have as many product specialists attending the booth, but they could be at
somewhere else in the world. Yeah.
And so I think the last one, that you can actually double the amount of leads.
Yes.
I mean, you can at least have give more foot traffic attention than if you're only one man on the booth.
Yeah.
I mean, John.
But imagine that though, like being able to like say, hey, so I'm going to show you this experience, and in this experience, you're going to meet our team of product specialists who are really good at telling you more about this, but they don't have to travel to the actual trade show. Yeah. And that's basically the equivalent of today of like sitting down at a trade show and then getting on a Teams meeting or a Zoom meeting. Yeah, there may be some who do that, but that's really boring. So this is more of a shared experience, something that you really can't do anywhere else.
Unless you've tried it, it's super hard to explain. Yeah. But you are in the same room.
Right.
regardless of
Right.
geography.
Right. And the cool thing about this is I like that obviously you can bring everything within your product portfolio, but it doesn't have to be just one showroom. You can have multiple showrooms at the same trade fair, trade show, and doesn't require any more space.
No.
I think that's pretty awesome.
It is.
And you can also do guided experiences where maybe, for example, you want to be in there with the salesperson, or you want to meet with a product specialist on the other side of the world, or it can be a completely self-guided tour. So you help set somebody up, they go into this experience, and then for the next X number of minutes, they're doing their own experience, and that allows you as a salesperson maybe to cater to more people, to talk to more people. So obviously it's more traffic and also more leads, right?
Yep.
So you should at least be able to 2x your leads.
Yeah, and I think that's a conservative estimate. But
I think it's very much so. Yes, not only can you conserve more prospects, I also think because you bring people closer to the product, you also heighten their understanding, which ultimately would boost your overall conversions. And at the end of the day, you're looking at your ROI for that big spend that you have on your exhibition space. So you're hoping that you can, land new customers or get existing customers to buy more, right? Yeah. So we're definitely, really bullish on virtual showrooms. But why is now, Jacob, why is now the right time to get started?
Yeah, there's a number of reasons. I mean, first and foremost, we are looking into a global crisis on inflation, on energy deficiencies. And so we need to save money and spend money more wisely, like globally. So everything that can reduce costs is good.
Yeah, I think most people right now are in cost savings mode. You can say that.
Yes, I can confirm from the conversations I have with companies. Everybody is looking to cut costs.
Right.
So that's, money talks.
Yeah.
Few are doing it. I think we talked already about that. A lot of people, was it 91% that are currently either have AR, VR,
or looking into it
or considering it. But for this purpose, you're not necessarily a first mover, but it's still in the early days.
I think when it comes to trade shows, we don't see that being used in earnest.
No.
Which I think that would be a great opportunity to be a first mover and
absolutely
and to prove that you're also an innovator.
Yes, and so it's been a couple of years since one of our customers, Glen Foss, they did.
We're going to look at that in a second. Yeah.
I think now it's been much more accessible for even smaller companies, so it's not gonna wipe away your entire trade show budget to kind of look into a virtual showroom as an add-on to your existing budget. So that's definitely something that now is the time. The technology is there. And of course, hey, if you can reduce travel expenses, if you can reduce the headcount of people you travel to Las Vegas or Amsterdam or Singapore.
Fewer planes in the air.
Less carbon emissions, and that looks good on all both on the planet and also on the green financials. What's it called? The ESG.
Environmental, social, and governance.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why I knew that so quickly, but I think that's right.
So there's the good old fashioned red and black numbers on the finances, and then there's green numbers as well. And all companies want to.
Well, I think this has definitely become a part of it should at least become a part of every company's overall organization strategy, is to be much more environmentally conscious. But then there's also the idea of actually using fewer materials to produce these stands, which often just end up being thrown away shortly after, right?
Yeah. So.
Yeah, so the timing is really, really good for anybody looking for a way to do more with less. This is a viable option. Great, and it's also very affordable as well. We're going to talk about that in a few seconds. Let's look at a customer story, and let's look at how Glen Foss actually goes big by going smaller. I have a little video. We don't have to watch the entire thing, but so this is Glen Foss. Those of you guys who don't know Glen Foss is the world's largest producer of industrial pumps, which are, by being industrial pumps, are often very big. They're very complex, and they're very difficult to move around from trade show to trade show. But Glen Foss, typically, their experience in the past was to go really big in trade shows, have lots of sales people there. And this was their foray into using XR technology. So what you'll see is they used mixed reality headsets. We'll talk about those in a few seconds. And they also used virtual reality headsets to give people a completely new way of experiencing their products. Yeah, so there we go. We've all been there. And this is Glen Foss's stand. So a little bit bigger than the 10 by 10. And here they are. They're using the mixed reality headsets and a combination of virtual reality headsets to actually let people interact with their pumps. And what this does is actually it overlays in front of them a digital component, and by using their hands, they're able to interact with it. So basically see levels and layers of information that you can't see with your eyes. So it's a pretty powerful experience. You can see how people respond to it.
Yep, there's a lot of smiling faces.
Yeah, absolutely.
And,
absolutely. A little dancing as well.
And if you walk past a booth like that, you want to see what's going on.
Well, you can see right there, all these guys, they're waiting in line. It's like, oh, that looks exciting. Come and tell me more. Yeah, so thanks to Glen Foss for letting us share that. So actually let's look at the hardcore numbers.
Yes.
So how much did they reduce their space by? They went from 1,000 square meters, that's
a big booth.
That's a big booth, to 700 square meters. That's a lot of floor space saved.
Oh yeah, that could easily cover the cost of virtual showroom, for example.
Very much so. Very much so. Yeah, and I think the high-end calculations, the estimates was around $200,000 US dollars that they say by reducing it here. But obviously that would vary from depending on what the cost of the exhibition space are. And to be honest, they actually do change quite significantly depending on how popular the exhibition is. But yeah, so they managed to cut theirs by 30%, and this is what their XR lead Christian Carlson says. He says that by adding a VR and an MR experience, that's a mixed reality experience, to our trade show, it gave us a powerful way to show our products, and I think it's become a fixed feature for them for their trade shows.
And I think the main message here is that you don't have to be Glen Foss.
No, absolutely not.
To do this now.
No.
I mean, obviously that was an investment a couple of years ago, but but now it's actually very affordable to add this.
Glen Foss was definitely a first mover.
Yes,
a first mover. Yeah, a pioneer. Yeah, absolutely.
Still are.
Yeah, and they continue to be. They continue to push needles. Yeah, they're using it not only for trade shows, they're using it for virtually every component of their business process. So if you guys want to know more about how Glen Foss is using XR, there's tons of information on our website about that, alongside other really informative use cases and customer success stories from companies alike and also not like Glen Foss. So, all right, we're at a point now where people are probably thinking, all right, I'm sold on it. Yep. Tell me how I can get started. So let's look at the actual nuts and bolts of what people need to get started. All right. So you're telling me, Corey, you want to move, you want to start tomorrow. What these are the things that you need to focus on.
Yep. Yep.
There's lots of things, of course. There's lots of things.
Yes, and I don't want to discourage anyone's. It may look like quite of an ingredient mouthful, but it's actually not.
No.
So of course you need some XR platform that supports
something to build this on.
Something to build this on.
Because in the past, most people have just had something custom built for them, right?
Yes. Either that, or they needed to hire a team of Unity developers and define what do we need to build, and then they build it, and 3 months later they were looking at it, and it's super costly.
Right.
Or have someone build it for you, like from scratch. Yeah. That's also very can be costly. Or there's a platform that's kind of been taken care of and supports the multi-user experience and the different environments, the different devices on different technologies and so forth. So my main advice is choose a platform preferably SynergyXR.
Yeah, something allows for multi-user experience, something that allows you for cloud storage, so you don't have to have all of your information on a
local
USB or a hard drive. But also security and control, I would imagine, are pretty important for companies.
Absolutely, it's first and foremost, and that's also why we always refer to it as the corporate metaverse.
Right.
It's not open for all. It is, but by invitation only.
Right.
So yeah, you want to make sure that your data is secure and stored in an orderly fashion.
And we saw Glen Foss showing this before. There, I mean, it's not just an XR or just a platform, but the ideal situation is a platform that has an XR suite, so allows you to work across augmented, virtual, and mixed reality within the same platform.
Yep.
Because most today don't allow you to do that.
No.
It's one or the other.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of an XR platform. It opens up a ton of different use cases.
Right.
But let's stay focused on the virtual showroom here. Of course, you also need some assets. You need something to put in the room. And most companies today actually have 3D assets of their products, either from research and development or from manufacturing. And we're actually pretty efficient in teaching these companies how to optimize their assets to use in an XR platform like ours. So it's not that heavy a task, and if it is, we can help you with it, and we're not that expensive. Again, we're talking about fractions of the cost of it.
I think that's one of the things that sets us apart from a lot of the other people out there doing this, is that we've been in the business for 14 years. We've kind of helped usher in the whole idea of the metaverse and XR. So it's definitely our forte.
Yeah.
But so all the things that people saw in the demos, for example, all the assets like images and posters and videos, most of those things are already used in your exhibition space today. So you can just toss those up in the cloud and use those as well. So really key point that you don't have to go out and create a lot of new assets. You can reuse what you already have. Yeah. What about the team though?
So we usually go with one champion within the company who has the vision and the passion for putting this into motion, and we kind of help him all the way. So you don't necessarily have to have an entire organization built to introduce virtual showrooms in your organization. All you need is one person who really wants this.
Right.
And we love talking to people like that. I do that for a living. And,
yes, you do.
And that's part of why I love my job. So it only takes like one person, and we can help you with a lot of the other heavy lifting.
And then we tap into the teams that most organizations already have, who are probably already involved in these events.
Yep.
Now let's talk about activation. So great. So I've got a platform, I've got my assets, I found the team. How do I actually start doing this, and how do I activate my sales team to actually be comfortable with executing this new experience at my next trade show?
Yeah. So again, we always recommend starting small. Don't necessarily build a rocket ship on day one if you only need like a car to take you from A to B. So start small and find one use case, and in this case of the virtual showroom. And then we have a lot of companies and customers who kind of go to their existing sales organization, and they often meet some crossed arms and hesitance, and you don't necessarily have to put on a VR headset, which can be an obstacle for some people. I don't really feel comfortable in here. You can use an iPad or an iPhone or a computer like yours to actually show this virtual showroom. So having that variety of options, that you don't necessarily want to force people to wearing a headset, which can be an obstacle.
Sure.
Especially for older, more seasoned salespeople like me. So all that to say.
Well, my experience is that you're always going to find people, regardless of age, who are really enthusiastic about this, and those are the ones who you want to get involved. And eventually the others will get on board. I mean, you're maybe going to have people who are hesitant to it in the beginning because they maybe don't want to look silly or foolish. Having said that, though, I would say that there's a new influx of people coming into the job market. Most of those, if actually not all of them, are digital natives, and this is second nature for them. Yes. So I don't think in terms of a customer's perspective that you're going to have a lot of pushback. But so our experience is actually making sure that you onboard the team and you do test runs, and then you just rock and roll, get out there and try it. Right?
Yes.
Start small and then build from there.
It's super easy to get started.
Yeah.
And
I think for anybody who works in sales, if you talk about ROI and how this is going to help them, close more deals and attract more people, I think they're willing to try something new. That's our experience, at least.
We see a lot of virtual showrooms for an exhibition being converted into a sales enablement, sales excellence tool after the exhibition, because it's not for 5 days or 4 days only in Las Vegas. It's open 24/7, 365.
That's it.
This virtual showroom.
That's it.
So you can use it.
And I think that's the beauty of it as well. It's always there, right?
It is.
It's persistent.
It's always open.
Let's so here's the SynergyXR platform, just real quick for those of you guys who don't really know how it works. So it allows you to work across augmented, mixed, virtual reality, and also PC and desktop. We have other webinars out there that talk about this in depth. But when we're talking about assets, then it's like 3D object images, videos, PDFs, all built within an enterprise-grade cloud security solution. What's it cost? Yeah, it costs as low as €99. That should actually be a euro there. And it's not there. Yeah. But it's 99 euros per month per user. So that's, that, for lack of a better expression, that's dirt cheap compared to trade shows. Obviously it's not a one-to-one comparison, but in terms of,
it's like
having a custom built
of Wi-Fi at a booth.
Yeah, it is. And obviously this is what we start with. This is what our price range starts with. I encourage you guys, if you want to go in and learn more, to go in and check out our website. We'll have information available for you guys. You can go in and see our different pricing ranges. But in addition to our subscription fees, we also do have a deployment package, which actually comes out, will come out with you hands-on and help you guys figure out all the working parts and the nuts and bolts and help you guys get started.
Absolutely.
I know people are probably thinking, okay, great, I understand the software side of things, but what type of hardware do I really need to get started with? Kind of walk us through that real quick.
Yeah, well, either one of those, or one or all of them.
Yeah. So you have the VR headsets, right? Which is probably that's a probably good place to start.
That's
they're fairly affordable.
They are very affordable. I mean, we're at what $200-300 €euros these days for
for the Meta Quest 2, which is the one up on the white one up on the left.
The slightly more expensive, the Quest Pro,
just came out a few months ago.
What is it, around €1,000?
Yeah, it's around $1,000, but you don't necessarily need that right now.
Nope. Then you have the good old-fashioned screen, the computer with an external
which
screen.
Is great for showcasing tracking, what people are seeing. I mean, in the times that we've used this, just by having somebody with the headset on and then being able to see what the person is seeing on a screen,
everybody wants to see what's going on.
Yeah, I mean that's a huge draw.
It is. Then there's the mixed reality headset, the Microsoft HoloLens,
which we saw in the video. Yeah.
That Glen Foss is using alongside with the VR headsets. And of course, just recently we released our latest release, which makes you be able to join a VR room from your iPhone or your iPad.
Right.
Which is super convenient, including those more seasoned salespeople who are hesitant towards the VR headset experience. They can always join from a
And what that means for those of you who are thinking, what in the world does that mean? You can actually sit with your phone or your tablet and actually be inside a virtual reality experience, which maybe is being shown on a screen and with a prospect, a delegate who's actually in virtual reality. So there are a number of ways, gateways, to be involved in this experience. Great. So hey, that kind of brings us to the end. Let's talk about some key takeaways and action points. So if people forget everything we talked about today, what's the most important thing you want them to remember, Jake?
That now is a great time to pump up your trade show experience. I mean, there's some low-hanging fruits ready to be harvested. Trade shows are ripe for innovation. Yes, definitely. The whole XR platform lets you do a whole lot more with less square meters, less people, less transportation, less logistics, a lot of things. And with a platform like SynergyXR, it's super easy to getting started. It's not as burdensome as it may sound to, I need to create a virtual showroom that's going to take forever. Right. No.
I think the key word there, it's ridiculously easy.
It is.
I don't think people understand it.
No.
Okay. So on that, note, what I suggest, if you really want to get your hands on this, if you want to see what this is like, and if you want to see how easy it is, then I encourage all of you guys to go to our website right now, SynergyXR.com, and try our VR showroom demos. We actually have a few demos out there, but I would definitely suggest, in the interest of what we're talking about today, to try our VR showroom demos. Yep. And you can experience for yourself how easy it is to work in it, how you can move around in it, how you can actually interact with it via your PC, your phone. There are lots of gateways.
Yep.
And you can actually just go in and that'll give you a 30-day free trial. While you're there, invite friends, invite colleagues. You can do basically whatever you want to. You have full access to the platform for 30 days. While you're there, if you like what you see, then reach out to us, and we'll get one of our product specialists in front of you and have a conversation about what your needs are.
Yep.
And if you feel as though that what you want isn't something that you can get out of the box with SynergyXR, hey, we've got a world-class team who can help you achieve your goals.
Absolutely.
Yes, I suspect that you concur.
I concur. Yes.
Great. Any final remarks?
I think you nailed the ending call to action pretty well. Try it. It's more easy than you actually think. That's
Great.
My best advice.
All right. Thanks for joining us today. As always, a pleasure. So if we go back to the first thing that we were talking about today, so what did you love about